means to do that multiplication twice. When they said 4 times 3, that meant to be that addition 3 times, right? 4 plus 4 plus 4. The same transition applies when we go up to exponents compared to multiplication. We can do 5 times 5. We call it 5 squared. 5 to the third power just means to do that multiplication with 3 5s, right? So 5 to the third is 5 times 5 times 5. 3 5s multiplied together for a total of 125, yeah? Okay. This next question is probably the most annoying question with exponents you can possibly have, because if you don't take time to stop and think for a second, you're probably going to get it wrong, right? What's a negative times a negative? Always a positive, right? So our instinct tells us that the answer to this is positive 49. However, there's this really annoying thing called order of operations. And in order of operations, which comes first? Exponent or subtraction? Exponent. Because when we write negative 7 squared, that's the exact same thing as 0 minus 7 squared, to which most of you probably would get the right answer. But because we don't actually write the 0 by convention, it becomes a confusing problem. 0 minus 7 squared is the same as 0 minus 49, which equals negative 49. Negative 49. I'm going to stress that a lot right here, but if it's on the first, chapter test, I can't even guarantee that I wouldn't miss it going fast, right? It's a tricky little thing that's just because of the way we tend to write things. Is there any questions why that's negative 49? Yeah. Okay, so it's a tricky little thing, but because of exponents, we have to do the squared part first, right? Before we ever apply that minus. So what's just 7 squared? And then we tack the minus on. Now C is the exact opposite. In this one, the parentheses contain the negative 5 and say that we're going to make the 5 negative first. So this is the same as negative 5 times negative 5. And now we have a situation where we have a negative times a negative. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. In D, we're kind of going to put the two things together. We have a negative number that becomes negative because of the parentheses before we ever get to this exponent. But then that means we have 3 negatives. So we're going to go negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. And negative 2 times negative 2 gets us to positive 4. But when we multiply by negative 2 yet again, our final answer is negative 8. Just in case, I'm going to say it one more time. So we have 3 negative 2's because the parentheses mean the negative gets applied first, unlike B. Since we have 3 negative 2's, these are going to be positive 4 times negative 2 leads us to that negative 8. Again, I apologize this is going so quickly. Normally I wouldn't go this quickly. But we'll have plenty of time for questions tomorrow. All right. And then the last one is 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4, because this tells us how many times to do it. With fractions, we just multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. The one great thing about fractions, right, is that multiplication and division are easier. All other numbers, multiplication and division is the harder function, but in fractions, adding and subtracting fractions sucks, but multiplying and dividing, easy. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 times 4, 64. Obviously, that can't reduce, and that's our final answer. We do always make sure to reduce our final fractions, or it's not correct, but simplest form. All right. Any questions on exponents? All right.